lucky.
You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
A new hour begins right here on SportsGrid's Bracket Central coverage. You have waited 3 exhaustingly long days to get back into the madness. Will the big dance return? Slip on those shoes and join us here on SportsGrid. It is the second weekend. It is the Sweet 16 on a Thursday night. We have 2 games live as we speak, a doubleheader of action into the second half as our third hour begins for our Sweet 16 6-hour extravaganza. It is BYU and Alabama, the game closest to its conclusion. About halfway through the second half, it is Florida and Maryland in the early going of those second 20 minutes. And JY, we're hoping BYU can make this game close and competitive. They are already in the double bonus, meaning the rest of the way, still with about 10 minutes to go, they are going to be shooting multiple free throws every time they go to the stripe. But if Alabama continues to shoot the 3 at this rate with this heat from deep, probably very little BYU can even do to claw this game close.
No, because you're either trading 3 for 3s or 3 for 2s. You need to be trading 3s and 2s for nuns. That's what you need to be trading. And an Alabama team that's now shot, ready, Ben, we talked about this before the break, 40 out of 51 shots are from 3, and they're shooting at a 45% clip. And, I mean, listen, you were 1 of 13 at the break, I do believe, for BYU. So BYU now 3 of 7 to begin the second half. So better percentages. The problem is that they can't get them on the other side.
83-67, Alabama in front. The last live total I saw before the odds logged as we trickle under 10 minutes remaining in regulation, 196 and a half. That pregame number was exorbitant. It was 175 and a hook. That is a very, very, very lofty total for a college basketball game, but we expected the pace to be there. We expected the tempo to be there, and both the Crimson Tide and the Cougars have matched that expectation tonight in Newark. It is Alabama shooting the 3 so much better here entering weekend number 2 than they did in the opening weekend at the Big Dance. But JY, a story of this game is Alabama in foul trouble. It's Mark Sears, their point guard, who has made 7 threes tonight, also in foul trouble. He's got 3. He was riding the pine for just a little bit.
Yeah, he riding the pine a little bit. Hollow has 3, and he. This
is getting out of hand.
This is getting out of hand fast. I mean, and at this point, you got to burn another timeout, and I think that puts BYU down to 1 timeout, I do believe.
Total Tracker Live.
What is that?
Its highest point right
200?
now. Is it the pinnacle?
200?
200 and a hook. A live points total for an NCAA tournament men's college basketball game. It is a thing of beauty to see. It is the offense we anticipated. It is the offensive performance, JY, we are getting.
And this is the Alabama team offensively that everybody was very scared of seeing. This Alabama team that can shoot the ball with anyone and still can get enough defense, especially with Big Cliff, to kind of help out here. Meanwhile, speaking of runs, another big scoring. Big Ruben.
Chinyalu.
I was going to.
I got you. Don't worry. That's what I'm here for.
I heard Ruben. I got hungry.
Yeah.
Big Ruben with a bucket, up by 10 by Florida, like we talked about. And listen, this is why I keep, I try to give you the coach's thought and try to take you into the huddle, into the locker room with the thinking. I said, don't turn the ball over, don't foul, secure the rebound, and you should be able to pull this game out. And right now, they're up by 8 points.
You can kind of see those trends, right? It looks like Florida plays a bad opening half, and frankly, they did. They had 13 turnovers. They committed 11 personal fouls. Maryland got to the line 15 times. Derek Queen was perfect, 6 of 6. Jacoby Gillespie was 4 of 4. I'm not sure how they finished the rest of them in that opening half, but of course, taking advantage. And yet Florida led by 2. If they were to clean it up, find those advantages at the break, I favor Todd Golden in a coaching X's and O's matchup against Kevin Willard. You would think that UF could pull away. JY, they're up by double digits here in the second half, but the story is the Crimson Tide. They lead now by 20. Their largest lead of the night, 88-68. BYU went on a run early in the second. Alabama has had the answer. And you mentioned Aiden Holloway. He is 6 of 12 from the floor. Every attempt, every make from beyond the arc. He is 6 of 12 from 3 with 21 points tonight for Aiden Holloway, the sophomore point guard off the bench that transferred from where? Auburn to Alabama? Well, he's paying it off for the Crimson Tide tonight.
I'll tell you right now, and that's the thing, and that's when it becomes so hard to play a team like Alabama, right? You start off with the game, and Ben talked about how Mark Sears is 1 of 9 from 3 the first 2 games. Well, he comes out hot. So then you're like, go get him.
Yeah.
Then he gets hot. It's like putting out brush fires. The problem is it's brush fires and it's getting hot. And speaking of hot, big news out of the Florida game, up by 6. Alex Conley just checked into the game under about 13 and a half minutes. So that's a good sign that he's back in the game, and that should help a Florida team that should be able to maybe start to open its game up. Speaking of opening its game up, this guy hit another 3. This is like, Ben, the funny thing is this, folks. I want you to understand this. I think 2 commercial breaks, Ben and I were joking around, and I said, Ben, the team total for Alabama was 100 and a half. And I started laughing. They got 91 points, and there are 8 minutes left. They're gonna have 100 points probably in the next 2 minutes, especially if they hit this one too.
They're just not missing from 3 tonight. They are shooting the 3 that Alabama
what is
wants
their
to
team
shoot.
total?
They are hoisting and constructing this game plan the way they want. And live total tracker has now reached a new peak. 209.5 as Richie Saunders and BYU trying all that they can, JY, to answer. He buries a 3, but it's still a 21-point deficit because Mark Sears can't miss, Chris Youngblood can't miss, Aiden Holloway can't miss. I think Sears just hit another. That is 9 made threes.
Let me tell you something.
We're approaching a tournament record.
Robert Horry can't miss. Antonio McDyess can't miss. Latrell Sprewell can't miss. Nate Oates can't miss. I don't know if I've ever seen an offensive performance where the team's shooting this many threes and do this. Like, if you would have said to me, Coach, BYU has 76 points, right? 76 points with 8 minutes left to go in the game. I would be like, they're winning. Or they're close.
For sure.
Folks, they're down 16. They're down 2 touchdowns with the 2-point conversion. And I don't know, and I told you this, because the way Alabama plays, they're not going to slow up. I'm so curious to see what their team total is right now.
Let's look at it. Let's find it right now for Alabama and BYU as they head to the break there in Newark. They have 97 points. Do Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide with 7 minutes and 7 seconds remaining. So that live Alabama points prop, as I'm trying to find it here, I don't believe it is. Oh, no, it's just odds and even right now. There is no exact number for Alabama.
They don't know what to do with
I
it.
think the odds makers are recalibrating to the best of their ability. I will tell you that live total is 208 and a hook. And just to confirm, Mark Sears does have 9 made threes, right?
Oh
yes, he is 9 of 14 from three. He's got 31 points and 8 dimes. Again, this is a guy that attempted 9 threes in the opening weekend and only made a single one from deep. He is 9 of 14 tonight. Alabama as a team is 22 of 44.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
50% onslaught from three, JY.
It's absolutely wild what they're doing. And, yeah, odd or even shoot, I'm not taking that. I want to see where they're hanging at because they just don't know what to do.
I don't know if they're going to be able to set a number live that we have seen for a team total in college basketball. The offense we hope for in the Garden State is here.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one, Steve?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
No way.
We are watching history as we speak, live right here on SportsGrid's Bracket Central, as Mark Sears delivers his 10th made three of the night in Newark. It is the 23rd for Alabama as a team. The Crimson Tide have now set a new record for the most made triples as a team in an NCAA tournament game in history. The previous mark was 21. They got over that courtesy of their mark in Sears, and then another one, 23 made threes, JY, for the Crimson Tide tonight. A new record in a men's NCAA tournament game all time.
I mean, I was thinking that I was going to go over 175 and a half, but I didn't think I was going to do it with 7 minutes left to go in a game. I mean, good gracious. I mean, listen, this is one of those things where if you're Nate Oates, I'm going to be honest with you, the coach, part of you is like, Lord, please, just save some of this for Saturday. Like, when we play Duke and those shots are going to be clean and open, like, can we please save some of that for Saturday? Because you saw, I think we saw it. I don't want to say Wisconsin tailed off, but like Wisconsin versus UCLA early in the Big Ten tournament, they went scorched earth.
Yeah.
And then they started to go like straight downhill. So as a coach, you're like, all right, great job, but if a couple of them don't go into basket, you're not going to be like, all right, we're going to be upset about it. You're going to be like, okay, save some for Saturday.
And did BYU use up too many in their own game against the Badgers in the round of 32? They were 12 of 26. They are 6 of 25 tonight. And that's what also stands out to me, JY, about the Crimson Tide. We highlighted it earlier. Alabama reaching new heights last year, getting the first ever Final Four in program history. And they were not good defensively. They played at the same tempo. They did very similar things offensively. They were 111th at season's end, at the end of the NCAA tourney in defensive efficiency. That is bad, and we know how critical balance is throughout the big dance. They entered tonight after their performances in the opening weekend, especially in the round of 32 victory against St. Mary's, 29th in the country in defensive efficiency. And one thing Alabama excels at on the defensive end of the floor, they know how vital making threes is, of course, as their own team. They run you off the line. They don't want you to shoot threes, and they try to make it as difficult as possible. They have done that to BYU tonight, who has still scored 79 points and really doesn't have much of a chance to even stay within striking distance.
Striking distance, no way. And that's the thing is I said to you, like, the only chance you get now in this game is the propensity of if you if you are Alabama and you are just wild and you're like, we're shooting the first thing we get every single time. That's the only chance that you think you have a chance of getting back into this game. And it's only 5:22 left. So you need to rip off, honestly, probably about a 10-12-0 run right now. And you got to start hitting threes. And they missed that. So to me, this game is all but over.
A 21-point lead for Alabama. They are at the century mark with still 5 minutes remaining. They got to the century mark with just shy of 7 minutes left in regulation. BYU does pour in a bucket. JY, I don't think we're going to get our covers of 7.5 or 8.5 live that we were feeling it with the Cougs because they got Alabama into foul trouble early in the second half. They are still in the double bonus. It really hasn't mattered, though, as the pace has opened up once again, and Alabama has held off committing those fouls. So the Crimson Tide have now made the most threes in a game as a team in NCAA tournament history, 23 and counting. Mark Sears also, JY, becomes just the 5th player in NCAA tournament history in a men's basketball game to make at least 10 threes. The first since Carson Edwards did so back in the 2019 Big Dance. He has been lights out tonight, and he wasn't in the opening weekend. Just 1 of 9 from 3 in total in the 2 games for the Crimson Tide.
No, I mean, and that's the thing is obviously when you're a shooter, you're going to shoot and you're going to make. I mean, if he would have hit that 3, I would have. I would have walked off the set if he hit that one.
Yeah.
But to me, yeah, I mean, he shot the ball well. He got in rhythm, and here's the key thing, Ben. If I'm not mistaken, I think he missed the first one, but then he hit the next couple in a row.
He did. It was a good look.
It was a good look. He got a clean look, and then at the end of the day, if you're BYU, you're going to sit there and say, well, did we shoot ourselves in the foot by going under the ball screens and letting them shoot and make threes? I don't know. Yeah. I can't answer that because it wasn't just Sears. I mean, that's the thing that's really wild if you really dig back and look at the fact that, they have 23 made threes. I mean, Holloway's got 6.
Yeah.
Youngblood's got 4, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, and everyone everyone has shot a 3.
Yeah.
But Stevenson and Reed are shooting at least 40% from 3 individually. Every single one of those guys. That does not happen in a tournament game.
And I know we'll have time to kind of put a bow on this game. It's really only a matter of time until we know our final score and its conclusion in Newark. But Nate Oates has been the head coach in T-Town for 6 seasons. His first 2019-20, of course, no NCAA tournament, sadly, that year. So the 5 years there has been a tournament contested. Alabama under Nate Oates has made it all 5 seasons, and they have reached the Sweet 16 in 4 of those 5. They are about to get back to their second consecutive Elite 8. More Elite 8s in the last 2 years for Alabama than in the entire history of their men's basketball program. That is highly impressive stuff out of Nate Oates. It is what the Crimson Tide has done in the vision tonight, JY, of how exactly they have done so is the brainchild, if you will, the brilliant brainchild of Nate Oates' offensive system that we saw follow him from Buffalo all the way to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of it's not the dribble drive, which was, people know it by Calipari, but it's Vance Wahlberg's offense, which is a term 3 or key, meaning you shoot the 3 or you get into the lane. I'm not the biggest proponent of it, but I'll tell you what, folks, when you shoot 24 or 50, this is one coach that will shut his mouth and say, good job, great offensive system.
It is crazy, right? Because you might see that and be like, 53s? Have we lost the mid-range? Can we drive to the cup? They don't want that. Nate Oates would get more mad about a missed floater than a missed 30-point three-pointer attempt for Alabama. They're up by 20, 103-83 at the under 4-minute media timeout. So, JY, only a matter of time. We turn our attention to Northern California, Florida, and Maryland up next.
We all know a night out at the club in Vegas can get a little bit pricey, but I've got a tip that can save you a cover fee at some of the hottest nightclubs. All you have to do is sign up online for free with a credible guest list service. Then, just show up before 10:30 and check right in. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Developments as we speak. Alabama continues to hit threes. They lead by nearly 20 against BYU. The scoring has stalled, JY. It is 103-84 between the Crimson Tide and the Cougars, and our live total has come down ever so slightly, now just at 200.5. It's Pinnacle 206.5, and it does seem as though Mark Sears and many of the key contributors for Nate Oates and the Crimson Tide done tonight, getting ready for Saturday, awaiting who they will take on in the East Regional Final, the Duke Blue Devils or the Arizona Wildcats. Only a matter of time before that goes final. Tonight in the Rock, we will tell you when it does. Let's get to our other game, where there is still about 8 minutes remaining between the 1 seed in the West Region, Florida, taking on the team on the 4 line in Maryland. The Gators were only up 2 at the half. They have opened up a 14-point advantage, 70-56. JY, how have they done it, And what's one of the biggest updates that you just saw in terms of foul trouble for the Terrapins?
Well, it's just honestly, I talked about the fact of, they had 11 turnovers at the break. They have 5 in the second half.
Yeah.
Right? You look at the fact of the number of steals, only 3 steals for Maryland. So they're not getting those live turnovers. But the biggest thing is the foul trouble. You have Miguel, Sultan Miguel, no points for fouls.
Yep.
Gillespie, 15 points, 4 fouls. So to me, and here's the thing, and this is what you get concerned about when you're in Maryland, you can't go to your bench.
Yeah.
Like when you go to your bench, it goes sideways. And I said, and I made it clear. I said, turn the ball over less, 5 turnovers so far this half, and less fouls, 5 fouls, and it's under 8-minute timeout. Those 2 things has turned a 2-point lead into a 16-point lead.
It's one of the beautiful things about doing this type of show live, an in-game live, a Bracket Central show, certainly through the big dance. You get to follow what you see in front of your eyes, match it up with the stats, the scouting report, and that coaching perspective, and of course, then the live odds. If you looked at the first half and you weren't watching anything, and you saw Florida ahead by 2, you're like, all right, Maryland, great job. You're keeping this game close. You should be in it. And the Terps certainly did in that opening 20 minutes. But as you start to find the intricacies for why that was the halftime score, and you see Florida turn the ball over 13 times and commit 11 personal fouls, and they're still ahead by a bucket, you're almost more optimistic in a weird way based on what you have seen out of the Gators, even if you are me, losing that first half number, Florida laying 3.5. JY, we are closing in on the final
that game's over
there
too.
in Newark. And Florida ain't done yet. They now lead by 18, 74-56. The Gators are a live 16.5-point favorite. I do believe Maryland will be at the charity stripe coming up here.
Alabama hit another 3.
Sure they did. They're just adding on to history at this point.
Wait, what
109.
What was it? 200? It got down to 200.5, right?
200.5, 206 and a hook was its height. Its pinnacle in that live total.
All right, so it's at
on the tracker.
What's 190, 195 right now? 195 right now.
Yeah, 195 right now, 109-86. Alabama up by 23 points. I'm getting text messages about my shirt right now. Let's make sure it's tucked in and we're looking good here. Always a watching eye. Shout out to my fiance, Chloe Durkin. She
good job, Chloe. He looks sharp. He looks sharp, though.
In the March. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Less than a minute remains, JY, in regulation. Alabama has 111 points. Our guys behind the scenes have done a great job very quickly getting us the history the Crimson Tide have pulled off tonight. Now, more, what, are they at 25 threes? 26 threes for the Crimson Tide. They are adding on to their history.
I'll tell you this much, and I love these guys. Take the last 3 games Seton Hall played in the Rock. They didn't even add up to these many threes. I don't know if I've ever seen a performance like this. I mean, you could go back to maybe like the Loyola Marymount days with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers, but even then, like, this is how they're doing this against a quality opponent.
197, that is our cumulative point total right now. Can we hit 200? That is basically our question here between Alabama and
like that.
BYU. You're not making free throws like that, but that's about the only concern.
Brick City. That's the first Brick City we used. Well, you know.
There you go. Newark known as the Brick City. 111-86. Alabama in front by 25. No, I'm not disagreeing with it. Only a matter of time as we tickle down under about 45 seconds left. Can we get to 200? That is the question. JY, it almost feels silly when you see a pregame number of 175.5 and say, a little steep. And almost get 2 bills. More on Bracket Central up next.
We all know a night out at the club in Vegas can get a little bit pricey, but I've got a tip that can save you a cover fee at some of the hottest nightclubs. All you have to do is sign up online for free with a credible guest list service. Then, just show up before 10:30 and check right in. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Our first game at the Sweet 16 on this Thursday night has gone final in our first spot in the 2025 Men's NCAA Tournament, and its Elite Eight has been booked. The Alabama Crimson Tide, for a second consecutive year, will dance into a regional final as Alabama absolutely blows out BYU 113-88. The Crimson Tide scoring 113 points in setting a new NCAA tournament record as a team with 25 made threes in the contest. Just for good measure, in the final 20 seconds, Aiden Sherrill for Alabama delivers number 25. Why not?
Why not?
When everybody's eating, everybody eats. The Crimson Tide into the Elite Eight for a second consecutive year. More Elite Eight appearances for Nate Oates and Alabama in the past two seasons, than in the entirety of their program's history prior. What Nate Oates has done in Tuscaloosa is nothing short of incredible, JY, as Alabama scores 113 points in the Sweet 16 to advance to a second consecutive Elite Eight.
I think they hit another three. I mean, it was just a dominating performance, and they've basically, the way they've won their last three games in three completely different styles.
Yeah.
They won it with the big man play of Cliff Amore diving down on the high pick and roll, right? The second game, they run it in a I don't want to call it a slugfest, but a grinded, slow down game. Now they've won it in an up and down, high paced game against a formidable offense. What you're going to see now is the next game, if they play Duke, now they got to put it all together, right? They got to have Cliff Amore to be able to be some kind of presence, right, offensively, so that you can worry about the role. You got to be able to go against a team in Duke that's one of the slowest teams in the country should Duke win. And then you have to deal with the fact of, can you replicate the shooting against arguably, I think going into the tournament, I'm not mistaken, I think the number 2 defensive efficiency in the nation behind St. John's. So to me, all that they've put up, these three games, they got it. If it's Duke on Saturday night at the Rock, Ben, they got to do all three of those things and repeat it again.
If it is Duke.
If it is
still
Duke.
have another Sweet 16 game inside the Rock tonight in the East region. Newark, New Jersey. Scheduled tip for Duke and Arizona just about 20 minutes from now. Game was originally slated for 9:39 p.m. Eastern Time, but those estimated schedules always a little bit wonky based on a previous game needing to be played, concluded, and then warm-up time for the next one. So about to tip in about 20 minutes will be Duke and Arizona. That winner will take on Alabama in the Elite Eight. Again, what the Crimson Tide have done under Nate Oates is sensational. 5 years in the 6 seasons that Nate Oates has been in T-Town, there has been an NCAA tournament contested. They have reached the Sweet 16 in 4 of those 5 years, the tournament every year, and now the Elite Eight in 2 consecutive seasons. By the way, Alabama wins by 25. They easily cover as a pregame 5.5-point favorite. Even a lofty total pregame, JY, of 175 and a hook stood absolutely zero chance as Aiden Sherrell's final 3 made it even over the 200-point benchmark. One of the highest scoring affairs you will ever see in the Big Dance. Shout out to BYU. A great opening year in Provo under Kevin Young. And a changing of the tide there as well for the Cougars. We saw A.J. DeBansa in the crowd tonight. He is the number 1 overall recruit for this next year's class. Of course, he will be a big future of what BYU has for at least 1 year with the Cougs. 1 year for Kevin Young as a collegiate head coach. 1 year in Provo. A Sweet 16 appearance for BYU for the first time since 2011. But, JY, it was all Alabama, and it was all offense tonight in Newark.
It was all offense all the time, and it didn't matter who got involved. Everyone, you said it was like a line at the Golden Corral. You get a plate, you get a plate, you get a plate. And it went back for second, thirds, and fourths. So for me, it was just an unbelievable performance. We knew the pace was going to be there. We knew that they're going to be able to score. Both teams. I mean, would you say to me, Coach, you're going to get 200 points? I would say no. I would say maybe mid 180s or so. But the performance by Alabama was absolutely sensational. And if you look at this, the crazy thing is this. BYU had 88 points, and they shot 6 of 30 from 3.
Crazy.
I mean, if they would have shot this another, 15%, if they would have got to about 35%, and they make another 6 threes, and now you're talking about like 113, 100, like, folks, that's an NBA score. Sorry. That's better than an NBA score because they play 8 less minutes than the NBA.
It's crazy. It's crazy the offensive proficiency that we saw tonight out of Alabama. It's also crazy on the other side for the Cougars. If you would have said 88 points out of BYU tonight entering, I'm thinking BYU at least covers a 5.5-point spread. We certainly get over 175 and a hook, and maybe the Cougs even win outright. Not the night for BYU. Hard to really stand in a way of a tournament record-setting and historic night in Newark. 25 made threes for Alabama as a team. Now a new men's NCAA tournament record for most made threes by a team in a single game. Mark Sears had 11, by the way. Only the fifth, or 10, by the way. Only the 5th player in NCAA tournament history to make at least 10 threes in a single game. A 25-point win by the Crimson Tide. JY, let's go to our other game that is also nearing its close, and it's all but a matter of time, it would seem, between Florida and Maryland. The Gators have opened up yet another 18-point advantage, 84-66. Derek Queen doing his darndest for Maryland. He's got 27, but Florida really started to find their pace here in the second half. They were only up by 2 at the break. Now they lead by nearly 20.
Yeah, it's just a simple fact of they've only turned the ball over. I was wrong. I said 11, 13 in the first half. They only turned the ball over 3 times. They only turned the ball 3 times in the second half, right? They've only committed 8 fouls. So to me, they literally just did exactly what Ben and I, why we jumped on the game at halftime. It was simply put, Florida doesn't turn the ball over. Florida doesn't commit fouls. And they were going to find a way to extend the game versus a team that doesn't have the horses to compete. Derek Queen was absolutely sensational. Yeah. I mean, I can't say enough. But let me tell you something. You talk about the fact that they lost by 18, right?
Not over yet.
Not over yet. But the big thing that I just saw if I was Kevin Willard, I mean, you probably don't care, Kevin, because you're walking out the door to Villanova tomorrow. But there are 3 minutes left to go in a game, and your team has 19 rebounds.
Oof.
19 rebounds. Like that's not even competing. That's not competing, folks. I mean, listen, I understand, and that's the other thing. Like, you have a team that's missed 27 shots, and they've gotten 11 offensive rebounds. So they're almost at 50% of offensive rebounding rate, and you've got 19 rebounds. What a way, Kevin Willard, to go out the door and head towards Philadelphia.
A very balanced effort out of Florida. They've got 6 guys in double figures. That doesn't even include Alex Condon, who has missed a good majority of this game, but has provided a huge spark in the second 20 minutes for Florida off the bench, more on the defensive side of the floor. That is normally a calling card for the Maryland Terrapins. JY, all 66 points out of their starting lineup. The only issue is it's been 4 of the Crab 5 as Selton Miguel 0 of 7 from the field
Need more crabs
right now. We'll have some time to dissect this one. We'll look at Duke and Arizona coming up in just a little bit. But this is one of the issues. When your team performs like this with what your head coach has done in the last week or so. Kevin Willard has made himself the story, so his future will be discussed up next.
Did you know you can make free bonus cash while gaming? Almost all social casinos have daily bonus dollars. That's free money, y'all. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid's Bracket Central coverage, our opening wave of Sweet 16 Thursday about to come to a close. Alabama wins by 25, 113-88, making history tonight in Newark at the Rock. 25 made triples as a team, a new NCAA tournament record for a single game. Most made threes by a team in a big dance contest we have ever seen. The other one about to wrap up as well. Under 2 minutes remaining in San Francisco between the 1 seed in Florida in the West region and the team on the 4 line. The Gators about to win by double digits, 85-69, just over a minute remaining. JY, when you look at this game, of course, we are going to highlight what Florida has done, getting to the Elite Eight in year number 2 or 3, I believe, under Todd Golden. What they have done this season is incredible. They won the SEC tournament. They have been one of the most dangerous teams in college basketball since the beginning of February, exemplified tonight in the second half, only being up by 2 at the break. But, of course, we will spend some time on the Maryland Terrapins as well. The downside of defeat and maybe an entirely new structure moving forward for the Terps after what their head coach, Kevin Willard, has pulled the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, it was. They should have been celebrating the fact that it was their first Sweet 16 berth since, 2016? And the story became about Kevin Willard. A Kevin Willard that basically complained about the NIL or the lack of NIL that he had in Maryland. A Kevin Willard that basically ran the AD out of Maryland.
He basically
ran him out.
Damon Evans was introduced today as the new SMU athletic director in Dallas.
Meanwhile, Evans had offered him a $5 million deal to make him one of the top 10 paid coaches in the country, and it wasn't enough for Kevin Willard. A Kevin Willard that could have squashed this all during the press conference. Just said, listen, I'm going to address Villanova and everything after the season. But the way he answered questions, his behavior, news conferences, the stuff he did with their own radio show that he missed because it was too early in the morning.
Maryland's getting out rebounded right now by Florida's Missouri.
I mean, this is
They're getting out rebounded by a 5'8" guard.
And here's the thing, folks, and this is why I'm so upset about this. You guys, I got friends that are involved in Villanova, and I want to make sure you understand this. You are banking on a guy that's got one Sweet 16 berth in his career.
How many years has he been a D1 head coach?
Well, I think 15?
18.
18 years he's been a Division I head coach. He's got one Sweet 16. And the way he conducted himself, and listen, you can say what you want about Kyle Neptune. Kyle Neptune conducted himself with class. I know Jay Wright. He conducts himself with class. This clown is walking into that tradition. Let me tell you something, bro. You just stepped into the hot seat because if you don't turn it around quick at Villanova, they're going to boo you out of there just like they boo you out of College Park tonight.
And it only seems to be a matter of time. Nothing has been made official yet. We don't necessarily know what Kevin Willard is going to do. There could be a lot of people that look foolish, ourselves included, if Willard heads to Maryland. But the way he has conducted this is the story. But the story right now out of San Francisco is a 16-point Florida win in the Sweet 16, 87-71. The Gators keep dancing on to the Elite Eight. Florida easily covers as a 7.5-point pregame favorite, despite only leading by 2 at the half. Our pregame total, JY, worked its way down throughout the day. Was 157.5, then dropped to 156.5. It does barely trickle over. Florida, the 1 seed, on to the Elite Eight out of the West region.
Very impressive performance. I mean, they put on a masterclass in the second half of really getting whatever they want. And it didn't matter who it was. And I think that's what makes a team like Florida so dangerous.
Yeah.
Is their ability that they can do it different ways. You want to go outside, you want to go inside. You want to make this a half-court game, you want to make this a full-court game. It doesn't really matter to Coach Golden and his team. And, like, I know sometimes, people like, oh, well, the coach is young. How about the coach is good? How about the coach is damn good what he's done? When Mike White left to go from Florida to Georgia, people were like, oh, no, what are we going to do? Well, upgrade, right? Upgrade. So to me, this Florida team is, and we could talk about how Auburn was all year and they struggled down the stretch. We could talk about Duke. There is no team that's been more impressive the last 3 weeks than Florida, including Houston. I don't think it's close. What they did in the SEC and what they're doing now, this team looks like it's on a mission to be maybe heading towards the Final Four.
Won what might have been the most highly acclaimed, highly touted SEC tournament in men's basketball history. They won that. They covered in every victory entering the big dance. They had won 12 of their final 13 games before the tournament, covering in all 12 victories. They've been good so far in the opening weekend, JY, and they did blow out Norfolk State, but they did not cover in that matchup against the champions of the MEAC, the 116 split to begin. They were tested by UConn, trailing for a good majority of that game before Walter Clayton Jr. got red hot late in the second half. Did not cover in their opening 2 games in the Big Dance. They left zero doubt tonight, winning by 16, 87-71. Florida is on to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2017 in the magical run led by Chris Chiozzo under Mike White back then. This is a Gators program, though, JY, that is not unfamiliar with this territory in the Big Dance. They had made 4 consecutive Elite Eights under Billy Donovan from the years 2011 through 2014. Of course, prior to Connecticut a season ago, they were the last back-to-back national champs in college basketball in 06 and 07 as well.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is Billy Donovan was an established coach. Yep. Todd Golden is barely – Todd Golden may get checked for alcohol if he goes to the bar after the game. But to me, what a performance by then. And listen, we'll talk more as the night goes on about this Villanova thing, because I'm talking to people at Nova and they're playing dumb. So either Mr. Chicken knows more than everybody else or something else is going on.
Could be a Friday news dump coming your way tomorrow, but there's still more basketball on this Sweet 16 Thursday night. Some game previews next.
Did you know you can make free bonus cash while gaming? Almost all social casinos have daily bonus dollars. That's free money, y'all. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Right here on SportsGrid's Bracket Central, Sweet 16 Thursday night continues, and we're not going anywhere. That's the Coach James Young, JY. I am Ben Stevens. Our first 2 games of this second weekend now in the books. Both lopsided affairs. Alabama wins by 25 in Newark, 113-88, easily covering as a pregame 4.5-point favorite against BYU, and a total pregame of 175 and a hook. Very high by college basketball standards, stood no chance. Our first game of the night in San Francisco, also lopsided, despite only being a 2-point margin at the half Florida pulls away in the second 20 minutes. 87-71. The Gators win and cover as a 7.5-point favorite against Maryland. Kevin Willard watch is now on for both the Terrapins and the Wildcats of Villanova. But again, Florida back in the Elite 8, JY, for the first time since 2017.
Oh, what a job by Todd Golden. We were talking about it before. Year 3. And I just think the way that they play basketball, it's honestly, folks, it's a beauty to watch. They have a propensity to hit big shots. They play really good, effective defense when they have to. And they're big, and they're long, and they're athletic, and they're deep, and they punch you in waves. And it's one of those things that's really a joy to watch. You got to look at a team that had 4 of their 5 starters in double figures, and one guy off the bench with 13. So, and I've talked about this before. When you have to play a team, and that doesn't include Condon, who, let's be honest, barely played because of the ankle injury and was compromised.
Yeah.
When you play a team that has so many guys in their top 5 or 6 that can score, it becomes pick your poison, right? It's like chasing a dog's tail, right? You got too many guys to defend. I'm going to say this, folks. Very rarely, maybe Duke, maybe Houston. Every team in the country has got at least one defensive liability. Some have 2. The bad ones got 3, 4, 5. So to me, when you have a team that's got the other team's got 5 guys that can score, Ben, it becomes extremely hard to beat them because as a coach, you play chess, you find a mismatch, and then you exploit it. And when they adjust, you move on to the next piece.
It was also huge for Florida to see Alex Condon back in the game in the second half. His numbers won't look great, but if you know that he missed a good majority of the opening half and early into the second 20 minutes, to come out there, to have 6 points, to have a couple of boards, to have a couple of assists as well, and a critical block as Florida really started to pull away in its run in the second half. That is great news for the Gators with a quick turnaround on 48 hours notice for the West Regional Final. They await the winner of Texas Tech and Arkansas, our next game up tonight in San Francisco. And JY, we have made our points. We have said our piece about Kevin Willard here. We'll wait to see what the update is with the Villanova job, what he does in College Park, all of that. You do want to highlight what the players have done. For a lot of these guys, this might be their final game in a Maryland uniform, either heading to the NBA draft, either graduating from college, maybe finding a new destination depending on the coaching change next season. Derek Queen, who is going to be a lottery pick, maybe even a top 10 draft pick this summer, 27 points, a perfect 10 of 10 from the charity stripe. Julian Reese, who has been at Maryland through 3 coaching changes, and in today's climate has stayed in College Park, 12 points, 8 boards in his final game in a Terps uniform. Jacoby Gillespie was great in the opening half, struggled in foul trouble in the second. Rodney Rice with 12 points. Not a great game for Selton Miguel, JY, but 68 of the 71 points Maryland scored tonight out of their starting 5. They have been one of the best starting lineups we have seen in recent memory in college hoops, affectionately and always known as the Crab 5.
Yeah, the Crab 5, they did a fantastic job. They just ran into a situation where Florida valued possessions.
Yep.
They were too big, they were too athletic, they had too many guys, and they just wore them down. But these 5 kids have nothing to be ashamed of. Like you said, some of them, like Derek Queen, I think is going to obviously be a lottery pick. We'll see what happens with Julian Reese, Angel Reese's brother, I do believe.
You're correct.
The cousin of Jordan Hawkins. So to me, great run by them, but there most likely will be a new addition of tradition with Maryland basketball.
And we are not done here. Again, we emerge into our 4th hour going very strong with our next game in Newark about to tip. The national championship favorites, the Duke Blue Devils, will be on the floor as a 9.5-point favorite inside the Prudential Center against Arizona. And a familiar face on the other side for the Wildcats. That's Caleb Love. Plenty more on SportsGrid Bracket Central next.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I'm on Wilmington. The Seahawk, you like that or no?
I like the under there, too.
Do you? I mean, what's that? What's that noise?
I don't
Gotta.
Sounds like a bad case of agita.
No. What are you talking about? Everything's great.
Yeah?
I don't know. I think we're turning the momentum around. I might not leave. I might keep
Have
you
you
with.
won something?
Only on SportsGrid.
Our fourth hour live right here on Sweet 16 Thursday. It is SportsGrid's Bracket Central coverage. He is the coach, James Young, JY. I am Ben Stevens. We are not going anywhere. It is our fourth hour. There will be a fifth. There is going to be a sixth. A Sweet 16 extravaganza all across the SportsGrid network on this opening night of the second weekend at the Big Dance. And JY, we are moments, and I mean moments away from tipping off in our nightcap in Newark, where the national championship favorites in Duke enter the fold in the second weekend. The 1 seed in the East region, that's the Blue Devils, led by John Shire in his third year in Durham, taking on Arizona. The 4 seed in the East region, and the Blue Devils, JY, a 9.5-point favorite. Total stands at 154 and a hook. Quickly, as this game is about to tip, what's the biggest key in your mind?
It's just, honestly, how long can Caleb Love keep him in the game? I mean, simply put, the one time they played earlier this year, 69-55 win by Duke at the McHale Center. Caleb Love in Tucson. Caleb Love, 3 of 13 from the floor. So basically, Caleb Love is going to decide this game, and he's been one of the more polarizing figures in college basketball for his propensity to shoot you in or out of a game. So to me, you saw it last game. Duke played an old guard named Jeremy Roach. They ran him out the building. They're going to try and do the same thing tonight. Simply put, the only chance I give Arizona to win this game, this may be crazy, Caleb Love has to score 20 points.
Absolutely so. 20-plus points in an Arizona win, hefty plus money. Caleb Love's points prop is 16.5. The over has the juice tonight in Newark. Just so you know, to get to 20-plus for Caleb Love, that's plus 162. To get to 25-plus, that is plus 460. Caleb Love in the round of 32 win for the Wildcats against former Pac-12 foe, and Oregon had 29 points on 5 made triples. This is a former foe for Caleb Love as well. The intriguing part, though, JY, it doesn't date all the way back to his days in Chapel Hill. We'll talk about that lore in just a second. But Arizona has played Duke in each of the last 2 seasons early in non-conference action, including this year, as you mentioned, in Tucson. The Blue Devils were an underdog for one of the very few times this year that Duke was booked as a dog. They won outright 69-55. A total in the low 160s stayed well under. Tonight's total 154.5. So as we flip it to the other side for the Blue Devils to attack Arizona, JY, what is the key for Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Tyrese Proctor? The list goes on and on.
Just do what they do. Be patient offensively. Don't try to take it over yourself. Run the offense through Cooper Flagg. It'll be interesting to see, do you make him that the ball handler a lot and pick and rolls, or they put him in what we call those short roll situations where maybe he's the screener and have him get the ball at that 17-foot area where it's one dribble to the rack, one dribble kick out. Run the offense to Cooper Flag. For a kid at his age, he does such a phenomenal job of playing the game the right way, right? But letting the game come to him. Being willing to give up the pass early. It should be interesting as this game is about to tip off.
So my bet for this game, outside of having Duke in my Final Four and a national championship ticket on the Blue Devils dating back to early February, is Duke's team total to the over of 82.5. Here is why, JY. Duke enters the second weekend of the Big Dance as the most efficient offense in college basketball and the fourth most efficient defense in college hoops. They want to make you play a very slow pace, get you into the half court. In fact, opponent average possession length for the Blue Devils this year, 19.6 seconds. That is slow. How slow? The slowest in college basketball. But Arizona's tempo, much higher than that. So I think it's imperative for the Cats tonight to stay within this 9.5-point number, JY, to pace things up a little bit, to get Duke moving, and thus the Blue Devils to answer offensively with their efficiency. Over 82.5 is my best bet.
Yeah, I went the same thing with you, and I also took Duke minus points. I also took them right now, right before the tip-off, minus 5.5 in the first half. I just think this is going to be a methodical blow this game open. And I think the one thing you have to look at that Duke had the big advantage in the first game was the rebounding edge. I think Duke had out-rebounded them by 13, 14. So to me, that becomes a pretty important thing. Can Duke value the ball, and can Duke get the ball off the glass? Because if they are able to do so, that creates second and third shots, but then leads to foul trouble.
And JY, of course, Cooper Flagg's status with the injured left ankle in the ACC tournament against Georgia Tech was a huge headline entering last weekend. He was available in the round of 64, played more than 20 minutes, didn't need much against Mount St. Mary's. He had 14 points, Duke covering in that matchup. He also played 29 minutes in the round of 32 blowout of Baylor. Duke won that game by 21, easily covering as a pregame 11.5-point favorite. But he has not got to 20 points just yet in the Big Dance. His pregame points prop was at 21.5. Good start for Sion James for the Blue Devils. He has all 5 points for the Dukies.
Yeah, good start for him. Duke, you're seeing Duke do a lot of switching on off-ball action. Then obviously you see Caleb Love right here trying to take over right away. Cooper Flag, 2 rebounds to start the game.
Let's talk about that lore of Caleb Love. Of course, he has played Duke many a time. 2 years in Tucson. Each of the 2 years he has been a Wildcat, and of course dating back to his first few years in college in Chapel Hill. He has been great against Duke, but what he will be remembered for, of course, is the Final Four matchup, the final game for Coach K in the 2022 NCAA tournament. He had 28 points, did Caleb Love. He buried a huge 3 in a 1-point game at the time with fewer than 30 seconds remaining to put UNC up by 4. It was the dagger, it was the death knell for that matchup against the Blue Devils and sent North Carolina to a national championship game. And, of course, the first and only matchup between Duke and North Carolina in the NCAA tournament in a Final Four in Coach Mike Krzyzewski's final game. It will always be a lasting memory for Caleb Love against Duke.
Yeah, we just saw a really good play there, run some kind of screen action, a little bit of miscommunication by who? Most importantly, Caleb Love.
Not known for his defense.
Not known for his defense. So Cooper Flag made 3 here on the board, 3 points early on, a couple of rebounds. So far, pretty good pace here. Both teams look to be pretty comfortable.
And you have to find the pace again. If you are Arizona tonight, they want to play up tempo. They want to make Duke go, as Delorso has banged both of the triples that he has fired off tonight. Arizona not a bad three-point shooting team, not an overly prolific three-point shooting team.
That's the shooter.
But that's really big for Delorso to get hot for the Cats from deep. They don't really want to take the 3 all that much. We talked about Alabama and BYU wanting to shoot at 40% of their overall field goal tries. Arizona not quite there, but if you allow them to take it, they will take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to be opportunistic. You got to be able to take the shots that you have afforded to you. And, just a couple of miscues here, a couple of like loose balls that if you're Arizona, you got to get to.
Yeah.
Like loose balls, boards. You can't allow a team like Duke that's so dynamic offensively and give them extra possessions. That's not how you beat Duke. That's how you get blown out by Duke.
Just about 3.5 minutes gone. The Blue Devils have an early 10-8 lead, up by 2. The live line the same as what we saw pregame, a 9.5-point spread. That total has worked its way up from 154.5 at the closing number, now into the low 160s as Arizona has hit a lot of threes tonight. Was that Caleb Love's first?
That wasn't Love. That was Townsend. Townsend with the throw.
Oh, Trey, one of the stars for the Oakland team last year that pulled off the upset against Kentucky. We are in the early going in Newark. Duke down by 1 very early on. A Texas Tech and Arkansas preview next.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Our second wave of games on this Sweet 16 Thursday night has now started, including the national championship favorites. In Newark, New Jersey, the Duke Blue Devils, the 1 seed in the East region, taking on the team on the 4 line in Arizona. But early, it's not Duke in front, JY. It is those Wildcats coached by Tommy Lloyd. 13-10 the lead at the under 16-minute media timeout. Our first stoppage of this game. The Blue Devils were a 9.5-point favorite pregame. They're only down by 3 after a hot shooting start for Arizona. And the line is already down to 6.5 in favor of the Blue Devils. Is it too much movement this early on?
I think so. Listen, obviously, Arizona's 3 of 3 from the three-point line, and that's the key thing. Caleb Love's only taken 1 shot, so he's kind of been playing within himself. But to me, it's too drastic of a move this early in the game. You're not going to expect Arizona to shoot 100% from three. I don't know. Maybe they'll make 25 threes like the game we saw before that. We never know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in the rims or the water in Newark tonight. But to me, it's a little bit of an overreaction. I still expect Duke to use their length and their athleticism and kind of break this game open some point late in the first half.
It also should be said, these are both basketball arenas. They are playing in tonight, of course, at the Rock in New Jersey, where Seton Hall plays its home games, and of course inside the Chase Center, where the Golden State Warriors call home in San Francisco. Tomorrow night is where it might get a little bit interesting. In Atlanta, basketball arena, all good. In Indianapolis for the Midwest Regional, that's inside Lucas Oil Stadium, a football stadium with basketball sightlines on the floor, as Arizona has opened up a 5-point advantage, 15-10. But Tyrese Proctor has the answer.
And the last two buckets Duke have scored has been some kind of defense or lack thereof on Caleb Love. So if I am Duke, I am trying to find where Caleb Love is, because if it's Proctor, if it's Kneppel, if it's any of these guys, they're all capable scorers. Yeah. You want to take the guy that's going to be the main offensive cog, and you want to make them defend. Kind of we talked about, like the Florida bigs making the Maryland bigs run and defend. Now you have to make Caleb Love play defense, and that's the way you can wear him out.
The total up by a couple of possessions early as well. Pre-game, it was 154.5. It is now live at 161 and a hook. Henry Vasar at the line for Arizona. JY, we're about to get started in our second game of the night by the Bay in Northern California. The only double-digit seed to see the second weekend, that's Arkansas. But a team out of the SEC, the SEC 7, that is into the Sweet 16 in the first two spots in the Elite 8, claimed by the most dominant conference this year in college basketball, that being the SEC. It is Arkansas, the 10th seed in the West region, taking on the team on the 3 line. That is Texas Tech, hailing from the Big 12. The Red Raiders, a 5.5-point pregame favorite. Total at 149 and a hook. JY, injury is going to be a huge component of this game. We did just get word about 10 minutes ago that Chance McMillan, Texas Tech's best three-point shooter, one of the best three-point shooters in all of the sport, has been ruled out for tonight. He has not played since early March for Grant McCaslin, and the Red Raiders missed the first 2 games of the Big Dance. They were hoping maybe to get him back for this second weekend. He is out tonight at the very least against Arkansas.
And that's going to be a concern, with a team that, let's be honest, 30th in the country in three-point shooting percentage in Texas Tech, losing your best shooter. So to me, when you start breaking down this game, like where can you find advantages, right? Arkansas, Texas Tech can beat you either way. They have the advantage on the efficiency bend on both sides of the ball, whether they're on offense or on defense. Yeah. But to me, I think it's the ability of Texas Tech to fight and make this a street fight, and the fact that they can offensive rebound the ball, whereas Arkansas, even though they showed a little bit versus St. John's, they don't have the ability to attack the boards, only 231st in offensive rebounding percentage. So that gives another way Texas Tech can beat you offensively, they can beat you defensively, or they can beat you on the glass. That's why I like the Red Raiders.
We saw a sensational game out of Texas Tech in the round of 32, dictating pace, controlling tempo against the Drake team that really wants to slow it down. We saw an incredible game out of the Big 12 Player of the Year in JT Toppin. He is that leader for the Red Raiders in his points prop tonight, JY, for Texas Tech entering this matchup. Let me just get it here as we confirm that number. It is at 18.5 in the over has the juice, excuse me. No points prop out yet for Arkansas's Adu Thero, but we did just get visual. Adu Thero going through full warm-ups with the Razorbacks. He is Arkansas's leading scorer this year. He has not played since the end of February. Getting those injured Hogs back in both what we saw in the opening weekend with Boogie Fland, who came in off the bench. We'll see if he starts tonight for Arkansas, and Adu Thero, JY. That could be huge for Calipari and the Razorbacks in this matchup.
Yeah, obviously with Thero and Fland, those have got your top 2 scores at 15.6, 14.2. Yeah. So their ability of offense that they could create is something that's really, really dynamic. Speaking of offense, I gotta bring this up. Duke is literally going at Caleb Love every single possession. Every action they run, they're trying to get Caleb Love in some kind of defensive predicament because he plays zero defense. I know we're talking about that, but my coaching guy keeps coming back to the fact that they're exposing Caleb Love defensively every time that he is guarding somebody.
Of course, some bitterness perhaps. Hey, you want to beat us all the time? We're going to come at you where you are at your worst, which is on the defensive end of the floor. Duke has opened up a 1-point advantage and now playing some stifling defense. They are up 17-16, a whistle on the floor, a dead ball. That should be the under 12-minute media timeout. Just to highlight what JT Toppin has done so far in the big dance, JY, 2 double-doubles, 25 and 12 against Drake. His counterpart, because Chance McMillan did not play against the Bulldogs or so far here in the NCAA tournament, that was Darian Williams. He had 28 points, 11 of 18 from the floor. Those are still the two key figures for Grant McCaslin in the absence of Chance McMillan tonight.
Yeah, those guys are going to be key. But like I said, the thing that I like about this team is the fact that their ability to beat you different styles of ball. Listen, don't sell this sob story with Cal. They were supposed to be here. Can they get over the hump and make another one? I don't know. I think Texas Tech has this game.
I bet the Red Raiders, as soon as this line opened up on Saturday night, at a 5.5-point spread, expecting the number to work my way. It hasn't. We're about to tip in San Francisco. Next.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I'm on Wilmington. To Seahawk, you like that or no?
I like the under there, too.
Do ya? I mean, what's that? What's that noise?
I don't sounds like a bad case of agita.
No. What are you talking about? Everything's great.
Yeah?
I don't know. I think we're turning the momentum around. I might not leave. I might keep
Have
you.
you won something?
Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid's Bracket Central coverage continues live right here on this Week 16 Thursday night. Underway in our second game of the night in Newark, New Jersey, and our second game of the night in San Francisco as well. The nightcaps in both the Rock and inside the Chase Center have now officially tipped. In the East region, out in the Garden State, it's the 1 seed, Duke, taking on the 4 seed in Arizona. Duke out in front ever so slightly, 17-16. We have started in San Francisco as well. It's Texas Tech, the 3 seed in the West region, against the 10 seed in Arkansas. You said don't have this sob story for John Calipari, and you are correct. Arkansas had a very high outlook entering this year under a Hall of Fame head coach in Cal in his first year in Fayetteville. But getting to the second weekend of the Big Dance, is one of the reasons John Calipari is no longer in Lexington. Kentucky had not since 2019. Now, the Cats have, as have the Razorbacks, on to the second weekend as well. Calipari's first time advancing to the Sweet 16 since 2019, but the 16th time, JY, in his 24 total NCAA tournament trips at 4 different schools: UMass, Memphis, Kentucky, and now Arkansas, one of 2 head coaches ever to lead 4 different programs to the second weekend. So maybe Arkansas, after an 0-5 start in SEC play, did not have the same outlook, but John Calipari is very accustomed to being in this stage, as are the Razorbacks, by the way, under Eric Musselman.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my whole thing with Cal was the fact of I don't want people to look at them and be, oh, this is a Cinderella run. This was a team that, let's be honest, Ben, is top 10, in my opinion, talent in the country going into this season.
Yeah.
And Cal tried to do it a different way. Instead of leaning on the All-American freshman, because also the fact of he, went after the season, he relied on the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. To me, I think what you have to find, and maybe Cal figures out, is there's got to be a balance, right? It's you have to take some young kids and develop them. They don't have to be McDonald's All-Americans. You got to be able to get some kids out of the portal. And you have to be able to have guys that have been there a while. That's why I look at a team like Duke, and they look so intriguing because of the freshmen. Obviously the experience with guys like Proctor. You go get a guy like Mason Gillis out of the transfer portal from Purdue, who's got experience playing in big games, playing in a national championship game last year. And I think that's how it works. Let's see if Cal's team can perform. So far, off to a good start, up by 3. John L. Davis, a couple of buckets, but also John L. Davis with an early foul as well.
8-5 the lead for the Razorbacks. They are up by 3. They were a pregame 5.5-point dog. They are currently catching 4.5 on that live number. We did not see Boogie Flan start. As he gets healthier, maybe back into the starting 5, at least not for this Sweet 16 matchup. And we do believe Adu Thero, who of course is Arkansas's leading scorer this year, who has not played since February 22nd, is expected to play. He was in warm-ups. He went through everything, but he did not start for the Hogs in this matchup. Early 8-5 lead for Arkansas. In the other game, JY, in the opening half, Duke has opened up a 4-point advantage. They're a live 11.5-point favorite. I was really going to be kicking myself, I felt, that if I saw that number with Arizona up by 3 at the first media timeout as a 9.5-point pregame underdog, that it had moved by 3 to a 6.5-point live number, feeling as though it might be a good number to lay with Duke. It's kind of gotten away from us here already into double digits. We are looking at the screen. One of the Arizona bigs, the transfer from Tennessee, Tobe Awaka, is on the floor holding his nose, it looks like, they're in a scramble for the loose ball.
Yeah, it just looked like a bang-bang play. Everybody going for a loose ball. As a coach, you want your kids to get on the floor first. Everybody dove on a loose ball. But even coming off the bench, Isaiah Evans with a big 3 off a dribble handoff. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Guess who was guarding him? Caleb Love. And I think people want to understand this. Number one, it makes him a suspect defender, yes. Yeah. But 2, if you keep making him be involved in the action, it wears him down, and then it hurts him on the other side of the floor, and that's where Arizona's going to need him even more.
There is some give and take, of course, right? You need Caleb Love to score at a high rate if he is going to be more of a defensive liability on that end of the floor. Only 1 field goal attempt so far for Love, did not make it. Of course, this is a guy that is known and will be a living legend forever in Chapel Hill for delivering that final blow to Duke, the dagger in the NCAA tournament back in 2022 in the Final Four. He is accustomed to playing Duke. We'll see if he picks up his play up next here on Bracket Central.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I'm on Wilmington. The Seahawk, you like that or no?
I like the under there, too.
Do you? I mean, what's that? What's that noise?
I don't
You gotta.
Sounds like a bad case of agita.
No. What are you talking about? Everything's great.
Yeah?
I don't know. I think we're turning the momentum around. I might not leave. I might keep
Have
you.
you won something?
Only on SportsGrid.
That's Caleb Love.
Yeah.
For the first time tonight for Arizona, he buries a step-back three over Duke. 4-point lead, though, for the Blue Devils, 23-19. Over 8 minutes remain in the opening half. The Blue Devils remain a double-digit live favorite, laying 10.5. Pre-game, a 9.5-point spread. Same exact live total, JY, as what we saw pre-game at 154.5. What causes that reaction right now?
Well, just for me, Caleb Love goes and makes a great shot on a step-back three, and then he commits a foul trying to commit a steal 30 feet from the basket.
Yeah, that's the Caleb Love experience.
That's the Caleb. I know, but I mean, and of course, Duke's already in a penalty, so now Knippel goes to the foul line. To me, that's just not a smart play. It's like you want. I mean, granted, he missed a shot, but guess who? They got the rebound.
Knippel missed a. Come on.
But you're seeing Duke.
Yeah.
Show that they're turning it up. I know he made his last shot, but their defense, Ben, has really picked up a lot, Duke. And what they have is they have the ability, folks, to switch 1 through 5, which means that any ball screen action, two guys come together, they switch, go under it, so you can't get a slip, you can't get around it, and then you're forced to take contested shots. So good job by Duke so far, but uncharacteristically of them, missing a couple of free throws in a row.
Yeah, and JY, when you look at the numbers right now, Duke is an 11.5-point live favorite. That first half number is 6.5 in favor of the Blue Devils. You probably could have got that a lot shorter, as one of our producers behind the scenes, Alex Fasano, did a 1.5 spread earlier as Arizona got off to a good start. They are 4 of 6 from deep, that being the Wildcats, and Caleb Love has buried one. We have seen 2 out of Del Orso. We have also seen 1 out of Trey Townsend. And they do work it inside there to get a bucket. They have not been great from inside the paint. They don't love to take the three normally, but they are hitting it tonight against the Blue Devils defensively.
And I wonder if you'll see an adjustment in how Arizona plays, because both of Duke's big men, 2 fouls, 3 fouls early on.
Ooh.
So does Arizona adjust their game? And Arizona, this is not the type of team they throw the ball in to the bigs, right? Yeah. It's got to be dribble drive and what we call a drop. Like a dribble drive, dump pass for a layup. Put your head up, get your shot fake up, try to get him up in the air, which just happened. So Duke secretly has found himself in a little bit of foul trouble early on in this game.
2 fouls on Common Maluwatch. He is one of the bigs for Duke. That is a freshman. JY, as I direct your attention to San Francisco, Arkansas off to a very hot start. A pregame 5.5-point underdog, that being the Hogs. They are up by 8 early, 15-7, a little bit more than 6 minutes gone. And they have been good from the floor, at least from 3. They've already made more threes in this game, JY, on 3 attempted, 3 of 13 than they did in the round of 32 win against St. John's. They only made 2. This is an Arkansas team that struggles offensively. A lot was highlighted for how poor the Red Storm were offensively that day, and correctly so. But these teams combined to go 4 of 41 from deep. Arkansas is not an offensive behemoth, but they have got off to a good start from three-point range here in this one against the Red Raiders.
No, they've been great. It's been odd. It's been Carter Knox, as it's now up to looks like, I think, an 11-point lead.
Yeah.
Carter Knox 3 of 3 from 3. So, of course, they're hitting everything, and Texas Tech is hitting nothing. So it's got to be a point where you kind of have to burn a timeout and see. It's 13, just over 13 minutes left to go. And a half. I would be. I would have called a timeout here, but they're probably one possession away here. So if you don't get a score here and they get a score, then you're going to call a timeout because you can't let this league get to 13, 14 points like this.
Carter Knox 3 of 3 from deep. He is the freshman from Tampa. Any relation to Kevin?
Kevin's little brother.
I believe so. It's Kevin's little brother who, of course, played for John Calipari at Kentucky. I think Carter originally committed to Kentucky under Cal as well, and, of course, followed him to Fayetteville. The other made 3 from Trevin Brazil. They're playing really well. Still no Adu Thero just yet for Arkansas. Boogie Fland has checked in, but 3 of 3 from deep for Carter Knox in this matchup. On the other side, 0 of 7 from three-point land for Texas Tech. 2 of 15 from the floor. That might be 2 of 16 now. And Jay White, when you looked at Arkansas in the upset win over St. John's, it was matching the Red Storm's physicality down low. There is certainly the athleticism for the Razorbacks to contend with JT Toppin and the rest of the Red Raiders.
Yeah, they do have that athleticism to be able to compete down there. It's just a matter of, getting off good shots. 2 of 15 for the floor, like you said. You got to be able to get quality shots and shots at the basket. And then you go ahead and go rebound it. Obviously, no one's in foul trouble so far for either team, 3 and 2 fouls. So at least, if you're Grant McCaslin, you're just like, all right, we just have to get quality shots at the basket, continue to do what we do, defend the three-point line. Carter Knox 3 of 3 from 3. Let's be honest, folks. Carter Knox is a 32% three-point shooter. We're not talking about a guy that's 40, 45%. He just got hot early this game.
So we would expect some aggression, perhaps, to the mean on both sides. Of course, no Chance McMillan for the Red Raiders. By far their best three-point shooter, one of the best in all of the Big 12. He hasn't played for a few weeks. We have already seen that number flip drastically, JY. The Red Raiders closed as a 5.5-point pregame favorite. They are now getting 4.5. They are 2 of 16 from the floor. They have not made a single three. Is it worth it investing in the Red Raiders live where this number stands at 4.5 points now as the underdog for Tech?
Yeah, if you believed in this game that Texas Tech is going to win and now you're going to catch it at 4.5, I mean, right now, I may go in because I took Texas Tech minus the points before the game, so I got them at minus 5.5. I may go in and take them at plus 4.5 right now because of the fact that I just think that they're going to find a way to settle down. They have to get a couple of shots. Maybe I may wait for them, honestly, to make a shot just to see the ball go in the basket.
That's what I think I have to see as well, as Caleb Love buries his second 3 of the night against Duke, making that a single possession game as well. Blue Devils still in front, 26-23. To me, that is the issue, JY. I laid 5.5 points with Texas Tech. I believe in this Red Raiders team. But until I see them make a frickin' basket, I can't back them right now. We had a great number on Florida Live at the break, laying 5.5, only up by 2 because of what we thought would be some regression in that matchup.
Oh, my God.
You're not seeing anything out of Texas Tech right now that gives you confidence offensively.
They ran a 3-on-2 and took a wing 3.
This is getting a little out of hand.
This is getting a little out of hand. Both teams going back and forth. So you got to get a good shot here if you're Texas Tech. And just, like I said, probably what they did there, drive the ball to the basket, get a layup or two, and kind of go from there. Speaking of layup.
First bucket for Darian Williams, who started 0 of 7 from the floor. He is now 1 of 8. He was 11 of 18 with a game-high 28 points for the Red Raiders in the round of 32 win over Drake. Again, not a great start offensively for Texas Tech. I'll see where things stand, JY, at the under 12-minute media timeout, where we have now hit. Is Darian Williams getting to the cup and converting at the lid enough for us to buy in? Or are we chasing our tails on a bad number? That's what I'm trying to debate right now.
I want to see them come out of this media timeout and see where I get the first possession.
And that's the issue, right? Because if they do come out and they go on a quick 4-0 spurt out of the media timeout, we miss the number.
Yeah.
Texas Tech flips back to the favorite as they were laying 5.5 pregame. So that is always the internal in-game live wagering debate. Do you go with what you are seeing because you are getting a 5.5-point pregame favorite now as a 2.5-point underdog, expecting that regression, or do you wait until you see some of that positive regression before you buy in? Listen, we've already missed a bad number tonight on BYU. What's another one? I'm going to go in and back Texas Tech here at plus 120 on the money line win this game outright, as I do believe in the Red Raiders getting the job done. And it's not like, JY, this is a BYU team off to a great shooting start, or an Alabama team, of course. Arkansas is not often this sound offensively, so I'll back the Red Raiders here.
You know, I'm a good friend. I jumped in with you.
Don't do it just for me, though. Do it for yourself.
I know, but you're still a good friend. I'm going to still back you.
Listen, I'm going to go with plus 120 on the money line for Texas Tech. I would also advise taking 2.5 points with a pregame 5.5-point favorite. And JY, we saw that total after Carter Knox's hot start from deep, and Arkansas get out to an 18-7 lead, get into the low 150s. Some bad offense there. Live total 145.5.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to this Sweet 16 Thursday live right here on Bracket Central. We are live all Sweet 16 Thursday night long on SportsGrid through the conclusion of our final two games, our nightcaps in New Jersey and out in Northern California in San Francisco. Duke and Arizona going back and forth. About 5.5 minutes remain, JY. I said, did we miss our best number on that 6.5-point spread? Well, now it's a 6.5-point spread. Duke ahead by a bucket, 34-32, I believe, at the under 4-minute media time out. 6.5-point number in favor of the Blue Devils. Arizona has had the answer so far. Our total on its way up from the pregame number of 154.5 to 160 and a hook. What have you seen here in these last few minutes between the Cats and the Blue Devils?
Well, particularly Colin Knippel's ability to kind of drive and get to the basket. This guy's more known as a shooter, but as the year has gone along, Ben, he's shown a propensity and ability to get to the basket. So 7 points so far, only 1 3-point attempt, 3 of 3 from the floor. So Colin Knippel's been really effective. Cooper Flagg doing a little bit of everything with 8-9 points and 4 rebounds.
My stars and garters. Finally in San Francisco, a made 3 for Texas Tech.
I was wondering why you were
Kevin
so excited.
Overton off the bench, who buried his first made 3 of the night. Now 1 of 8 for the Red Raiders from deep, 5 of 12 from the floor overall. Arkansas still holds that 8-point lead, JY, with just over 9 minutes remaining in the opening half.
I'm looking at this, and I'm like, we just need a little mini run here. A little mini run. It doesn't have to be a 3, just quality shots. I think Texas Tech has got to do a better job of running their stuff.
Yeah.
Calipari's teams will get you into this like one-on-one basketball because they run that dribble drive off. You have to try and create themselves. But, get a good possession here.
What are we hoisting contested threes
guys,
for?
I don't know.
So here's where I stand right now in a Texas Tech 5.5-point spread pregame and betting them plus 120 at the money line at the under 12-minute media timeout. I'm not overly concerned by what Arkansas is doing offensively. A hot start. Carter Knox buried his first 3 threes of the game, but that has cooled down. I am very concerned by what I am seeing out of Texas Tech offensively.
If you're open, doesn't mean you shoot it. Sorry.
No. Yell at it. That's Big 12 Player of the Year in JT Toppin. He is not a 3-point shooter at all.
And that's the thing. Like we as coaches, we kids say to us, but coach, I was open. I was open. If you're open, it's for a reason. It's the reason why you can't shoot. So why is the Big 12 Player of the Year shooting threes? And this is what Cal's team does to you when they run this dribble drive offense. They make it a one-on-one game. And they get you out of your flow. They get you out of what you do well. And Grant McCaslin's got to get his team under control. They're taking poor quality shots, and this is where I think it's kind of interesting. They're taking bad shots, and they're down, I think, 6 points right now, 6 or 8 points.
22-14 the lead early.
And they're taking terrible shots. So settle your team down and take quality shots. Let Kentucky throw the ball around the gym, and you'll be fine.
Just because Chance McMillan is not there, by far your best 3-point shooter, does not mean you have to beat Chance McMillan tonight. The Red Raiders are 1 of 10 from deep, and yet they are only down 8. I believe Arkansas will be at the foul line when we return from the under 8-minute media timeout. JY, I did say if I saw Duke at a 6.5-point spread again, I would not pass it up. I did back the Blue Devils, laying 6.5 for the game overall, up by 2 with about 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half. I do think Duke wins this game comfortably. I wasn't sure if I wanted to lay 9.5. I also have the Blue Devils team total over 82.5. I'll take a 6.5-point spread live for a Duke team that I still believe is playing pretty good ball tonight. And if Cooper Flagg's going to get to the rim that easily, I'll take it as well. I don't think that 6.5 is there anymore.
No, I don't think the 6.5 is there anymore. I'm honestly looking at alt lines because I just think at some point Duke's gonna blow this game wide open. I just think there's too much hard work that Arizona's got to do to get themselves what I figure is a quality shot. So right now, if you just look at Duke plus minus 14.5, it's a little bit too high. I'm trying to find it in the middle. Duke minus 11.5 at plus 154. I could see Duke up by. I think I'm going to jump in right there. Now it's at plus 10.5, minus 10.5, and plus 158 because of the foul call. I think I'm going to jump in and take it because I think Duke's going to find a way to blow this game open at some point in the late first half. Now this is kind of the point where, sorry, Ben, where they kind of blew out Baylor. Late first half, it was close. And then here comes that run that you're not ready to stop.
A little bit of foul trouble on Duke's bigs, including their starting 5 in Common Malawach, who has 2 fouls and has not scored. He is the only Duke player that started for John Shire tonight. It has not recorded a single point. Everybody else in the starting 5 has at least 7, led by Cooper Flagg, who does have 11. A slow start for Caleb Love, JY. He buried 2 consecutive triples. He is 2 of 2 from deep. He is 0 of 3 from the floor outside of that. but did just hit 2 free throws. He has 8 points now, trying to get to Duke in ways that he knows how.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, he's probably, maybe go to the foul a little bit, try and create stuff. I mean, obviously, he just lucky bounce there. He literally, if he gets open, he's letting it go.
For sure.
Really good.
Frankly, as he should.
As he should, right? And really, right now, I think a good timeout by John Shire. Tie game, 36-36, no blockout, tip back, layup. So now if you are John Shire, you're going to look at you guys and say, okay, 2:27 left to go. I usually talk about what I learned from, a good friend, Trisha Fabry, over at Quinnipiac women's basketball coach. She calls it score, stop, score. She's probably looking at it. John Shire's probably saying, score, stop, score. Get up by 4, maybe take another bad shot. Maybe so you can make a little mini run before the end of the half.
That's what you're trying to do at this point. We are tied at 36 all. I said if I saw Duke at a 6.5-point spread live again, I would take it. The Blue Devils in a tied game now have dropped down to just a 5.5-point live favorite. That total up by nearly double digits, 162.5 is that current number. Texas Tech playing better basketball. That looked to be a very easy look inside for the Red Raiders, 23-16. Arkansas still a slight 1.5 favorite, JY, in terms of the spread, minus 125 on the money line. We are coming up on the break. Duke in Arizona near the break. About 6.5 minutes remain in our other game in the opening half in San Francisco between Arkansas and Texas Tech. Plenty more in store next.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. You studied the stats. You had the perfect bracket until your upsets turned into regrets. SportsGrid rides the highs and lows of every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella story.
The Big Ten Freshman of the Year!
Our team brings you sharp insights, real-time reactions, and all the madness. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Action back and forth we go in our 2 games live right now on this Thursday, as the start of the second weekend of the 2025 Big Dance is now underway. Our nightcaps in New Jersey and in San Francisco. First in Newark, Duke and Arizona. Back and forth. Caleb Love starting to pick up his play for the Wildcats at the free throw line, burying 2. We're tied once again at 38 all. With under 2 minutes remaining in this opening half, it is tied at 38. Duke is a live 6.5-point favorite, and the total is up there at 163 and a hook. JY, I think if you're Arizona, you have kept this game within striking distance. You have withstood a couple of runs by the Blue Devils. You have forced a few turnovers out of Duke as well. You're in a tied ball game with about 90 seconds left in the opening half. If you're Tommy Lloyd, how happy are you?
Oh, you're ecstatic. You're absolutely ecstatic right now that you're in this game tied 38-38. You got Duke's big men in foul trouble. You know, Caleb Love, who we said needed to score 20 points, has 10 points so far. I think the thing that I look at the fact is I still think Duke is able to get to their spots.
Yeah.
Kneppel and Cooper Flag are able to get downhill and get the spots where they could score. But the good thing is if you look down the box score, everybody with Arizona basically has a foul.
Everybody.
Now, Awaka, I think it's Awaka, just picked up his second foul. Yeah. So him and Bradley both have 2 fouls. They're 2 of your better defenders. So let's see. Duke makes a little run. I talked about score, stop, score. They give up 2 free throws. Now can he start again? Score here, get a stop, get a score before the break.
What Tommy Lloyd has done in his time in Tucson, 3 consecutive trips to the Sweet 16, is something to be very proud of. And a lot of that has been some of these guys that we have seen. Jaden Bradley, KJ Lewis, Tobey Awaka is the Tennessee transfer. He's got 2 personals. Jaden Bradley's got 2 personals. KJ Lewis, who provides that bench depth for the Wildcats, also 2 personal fouls. 10 in total for Arizona. Duke, of course, in the double bonus. 10 fouls committed by Duke on the other side. A couple of guys in their starting 5. Common Maluach and Sion James, both with multiple personal fouls. We're going to see some free throws here, JY, in the final minute and 26 seconds in this opening half.
Yeah, I think what they also do, what Caleb Love is actually doing a good job of is he's not settling. Yeah. He's getting the ball. He knows he's going to get fouled, so he's just literally driving the ball down the cup and forcing the referee to blow his whistle. So to me, it's interesting so far, 40-39, 126 left to go. You know, you look at a guy like Caleb Love, who's already attempted 6 free throws. I mean, they're 11 of 13 from the foul line. So that is how they've kept themselves in the game. Meanwhile, Duke 3 of 5. So that's obviously right there a +8 at the foul line for Arizona. That's why this game's so close.
Absolutely so. And Arizona taking advantage of when they have gotten fouled and getting to the charity stripe and making those free throws. Let's check in on our other game. About 5 minutes remaining in the opening half. Texas Tech is starting to play better offensively, but Arkansas has had the answers, JY. They're up by, I believe that's 10, yeah? 31-21 right now. The Razorbacks in front, and they are a live 3.5-point favorite. The Hogs have been okay offensively. The Red Raiders still struggling mightily on that end of the floor. We're approaching 4 minutes remaining here, JY, and that total 148.5 pregame, it was 149 and a hook.
Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of clanking going on. After the first 3 threes that were made by Arkansas, they kind of slowed down a lot. So to me, McCaslin, you're playing so bad. You're like, honestly, get me to halftime.
Yeah.
Give me the halftime as close as we can, and we try to open it up. Meanwhile, Caleb Love just banged the 3, so now he's up to 13 points. So 14 points. So he's doing what he needs to do to keep his team in the game. 14 points so far. If you're John Shire, do you consider doing something you may not like to do a lot, which is anytime you get him in the ball screen, just blitz him. Just blitz him with 2 guys and make him be a distributor, something that Caleb Love, let's be honest, it doesn't like to do often.
14 points, 3 of 7 from the floor, but all 3 made shots for Love coming from beyond the arc. 3 made triples for Caleb Love, and he is 5 of 6 at the charity stripe. We are tied at 42 all with just about 40 seconds remaining here in regulation. I believe we saw John Shire use his use it or lose it timeout, or maybe it was Tommy Lloyd on the other side, but a quick stoppage, JY. What do you think Duke, who has the ball offensively, is drawing up here?
Actually, it wasn't them. It was actually Arizona called the timeout. Yeah. They used their use it or lose it timeout because Duke already used theirs already. So we'll hopefully get a stop and a score for Arizona. If you're Duke, you just want to go open shot.
I mean, if you're Arizona, I know you got to pay attention to Cooper Flag, but you cannot let Con.
You got to peel off of that and make them throw the skip.
And Con Knippel open takes advantage. Duke up by 3. What hour is it? Hour 5? Yeah, it's coming your way up next.
We all know a night out at the club in Vegas can get a little bit pricey, but I've got a tip that can save you a cover fee at some of the hottest nightclubs. All you have to do is sign up online for free with a credible guest list service. Then, just show up before 10:30 and check right in. See you in Las Vegas.